Welcome to your Aerial Platform Operator Training Program. This program is intended to help you develop safe operating practices when using scissor lifts, self-propelled booms, portable work platforms, trailer-mounted booms, and self-propelled vertical lifts. Hello, I'm Mike Steele. This presentation should be used with the participant's guide, which you should have received from a course trainer. The operator training is designed to be general in nature since it covers safe operating principles and practices for aerial platforms. Once you've completed this program, you don't have to retake this course again to operate a different type of aerial platform. All you need is familiarization on the specific aerial platform from a qualified person. Complete information on the specific model that you plan to operate can be found in the operator's manual that is always stored on the machine. Always read and follow the appropriate operator's manual for the aerial platform you're learning to operate. Should you have any questions or find you don't fully understand any subject covered in this presentation, please discuss them with your trainer. We've divided this video into 4 sections. Section 1 deals with the responsibilities of all parties associated with the operation of aerial platforms. Section 2 deals with learning how to identify and avoid safety hazards. In Section 3, we discuss the 5 key concepts of safe machine operation. And finally, in Section 4, we'll review what you need to do for your proficiency demonstration to become a qualified aerial platform operator. Okay, so let's get started with Section 1, Operator Responsibility. Standards organizations worldwide are calling for clear training on who is responsible for what when operating aerial work platforms. In the United States, standards are established by ANSI and OSHA, and in Canada, it's CSA. And in Europe, CE approval is required. ANSI has established standards that are provided in their Manual of Responsibilities for dealers, owners, users, and operators of aerial work platforms. To begin, manufacturers must design equipment that meets these world standards. The manufacturer also has the responsibility to provide operational and maintenance instructions and to identify the hazards associated with operating or repairing the machine. The dealer, who may rent or sell aerial platforms, should make sure the machines they provide are maintained and ready for use. The dealer is also responsible to offer appropriate training and familiarization regarding proper machine operation and safety. The owner of an aerial platform could be the dealer in a rental situation or may have the responsibility of a user if they are directing operators to operate an aerial platform. Now, the user is someone we'll talk about in a moment. It is the owner's responsibility to make sure that the manufacturer's operator's manual is in good condition and stored on the machine. And just like a dealer, an owner must maintain the machine to manufacturer's specifications. Whenever an owner directs or authorizes someone to operate an aerial platform, the owner must provide appropriate training and familiarization. The user, by definition, is the person or persons in the position of directing operators to use aerial platforms in their work. Quite often, this is a company, an institution, or another type of organization. Like an owner, the user must provide appropriate maintenance training, familiarization, and make sure that the manuals supplied by the manufacturer are in good condition and stored on the machine. The user is responsible for only allowing trained, qualified, and authorized personnel to operate an aerial platform. The operator is the person who actually performs work using an aerial platform. It is the operator's responsibility to check that the manuals are in the storage box on the platform and are read and understood before operation. Don't forget to do this. The operator is responsible for operating the aerial platform within the limits of intended use as defined by the manufacturer in the operator's manual and job site and government regulations. This includes avoiding hazardous situations, performing a visual pre-operation inspection, performing comprehensive function tests prior to use, performing a workplace inspection, and only using the machine as the manufacturer intended. The operator is responsible for reporting any problems or malfunctions that occur before or during operation. In addition to these important standards, operators are subject to specific local, regional, and national workplace rules and regulations. So please check with the appropriate safety organizations for specific information that would apply to you. Along with the operator's manual, a copy of the ANSI SIA Manual of Responsibilities should accompany or be included with every piece of equipment sold in the United States and Canada. These manuals are considered a permanent part of your machine and should remain with the machine at all times. Consult these manuals when you require specific information for your model of aerial work platform. Now that you know your responsibilities, you need to learn about the hazards you can encounter while operating any type of aerial work platform. The focus of this section is to help you learn how to identify those hazards so you can protect yourself and others from injury in the workplace. We'll cover 4 categories of hazards that you need to understand and avoid. They are tip over, fall, collision, and electrocution hazards. Common sense and planning are required to determine if your work activity will affect the lift capacity and stability of the machine. Here are some situations to think about and avoid. The machine must not be moved with the platform raised unless it is designed for this purpose. Pushing or pulling on objects outside the platform. Placing ladders or scaffolds against the machine. Trying to operate equipment on unlevel or unstable ground conditions. Bad weather or windy conditions. Unsafe numbers of people or too much weight on the platform. To avoid falling, don't sit, stand, or climb on the platform guardrails. Be sure to always lower the platform entry mid-rail or close the gate before operating. To avoid collisions, you should be aware of how and where the machine is moving. You should first perform a worksite inspection and familiarize yourself with ground and overhead obstructions. These machines are not electrically insulated. That means there is no protection for the operator or machine from electrical shock as a result of contact or unsafe proximity to power lines or any other electrical charge. Information about minimum safe approach distances to power lines and other electrically charged devices is listed in the operator's manual and displayed on the machine. And really, it's that simple. Be aware that tip over, fall, collision, and electrocution hazards are out there, and they can certainly get you. Learn to identify and avoid them. Also, be reminded you'll find a longer list of specific hazards in the operator's manual. Read and understand these before operating the machine. There are more resources on the machine in the form of safety and instructional decals. The safety decals have the safety markings of danger, warning, and caution. The green instructional decals indicate operation or maintenance information. Remember, if you don't follow all safety instructions and exercise safe operating procedures, serious injury or even death could occur. The risks are clear and the consequences are catastrophic. So follow the instructions that the manufacturer has set out for both safety rules and operating instructions. There are 5 key concepts of safe machine operation, all of which you will find outlined in your operator's manual. They are: avoid hazardous situations. Always perform a pre-operation inspection. Always perform function tests prior to use. Inspect the workplace. And only use the machine as it was intended. These principles, if followed in sequence, will help you to operate the aerial work platform safely and efficiently. Training and common sense will help you avoid hazardous situations. You must be able to recognize and avoid potential tip-over, fall, collision, and electrocution hazards. It is critically important before you even get near the work environment or the machine, you know what kind of hazards to be looking for. A second key concept for safe machine operation is the pre-operation inspection and function tests. And why is this so important? Well, it's important because very often you don't know where that machine has been or how it's been maintained. This visual inspection is designed to keep the operator out of harm's way by discovering if anything is apparently wrong with the machine before the operator performs the function tests. You're looking for things like modifications, damage, loose or missing parts, and hydraulic or other fluid leaks. Your operator's manual has a complete checklist of items you need to inspect. Let's look at a few examples that apply to all aerial platforms. Limit switches, platform condition, lift links, pins, and banjo bolts. Swing bearing and rotator bolts. Pothole mechanism. Electrical components. Lift mechanism. Decals. Running gear, and tires. If the machine checks out, you're ready to perform the function tests, our third key concept for safe machine operation. And why do we do function tests? Well, that's to make sure that you can get up safely and get down safely before you go into the work environment. We want to discover any malfunctions before the machine is put into service. Of course, you have to get up in the air to do your work. But more importantly, if there's an injury or something happens and you need to get down, or others need to bring you down, it is vital to verify the machine is operating properly. Now, before you begin testing functions, select an area that is firm, level, and free of ground and overhead obstructions. Follow the testing sequence listed in the operator's manual. If a machine fails a test, it must be removed from service, repaired, and re-inspected before it can be used. Let's take a look at a few examples of function tests that apply to aerial platforms. Outrigger deployment. outrigger interlocks. Emergency stop. Tilt alarm. Drive function. Lift function. Complete lists of function tests are located in your operator's manual. Our fourth key concept for safe machine operation is the workplace inspection. Earlier, we learned how to identify tip-over, fall, electrocution, and collision hazards. Now, as you move on to the worksite, you can see what circumstances will contribute to hazardous situations. And what do you do when these hazardous situations present themselves? Well, it's pretty clear. It's your responsibility as an operator to clear those obstacles. Keep your eyes open for drop-offs and holes, floor obstructions, and hazardous locations, overhead obstructions, electrical conductors, wind and unsafe weather conditions. The complete inspection is listed in the Operators and Responsibilities manuals. It is also important to note that you, as an operator, have an obligation to inform the user or owner if a work environment contains even one thing that will prevent you from safely doing your job. The fifth key concept for safe machine operation is to only use the machine as it was intended. The operating instructions section in the operator's manual provides instructions for each aspect of aerial platform operation. It is the operator's responsibility to follow all the safety rules and instructions in the responsibilities and operator's manuals. Aerial platforms are designed to lift people and their tools to overhead work locations. The operator's manual will indicate if the aerial platform can be used to lift materials. Using the machine for anything other than the activity specified in the operator's manual is unsafe. Only trained and authorized personnel should be permitted to operate a machine. If more than one operator is expected to use a machine at different times in the same work shift, they must all be qualified operators and are expected to follow all safety rules and instructions in the operator's safety and responsibilities manuals. That means every new operator should perform a pre-operation inspection, function tests, and a workplace inspection prior to each work shift. Okay, if you've successfully completed your participant's guide and the written test, you are almost ready to operate an aerial platform. Now, read the operator's manual for the specific machine you wish to operate. Then you must operate the machine to demonstrate proficiency in front of a qualified person. So, let's quickly review the steps. First, read and understand your operator's manual so you know it. Be aware of hazards to look out for and avoid them. Perform a pre-operation inspection on the equipment. Perform the function tests prior to use. Inspect the workplace for unsafe conditions and familiarization. Only use the machine as the manufacturer intended. It's that simple. We know you can succeed, but it's up to you. Good luck, and be safe out there.